In this video, we will see how I trained Leah to use the cat door that gives her access to the catio. A catio is a wire-meshed outside patio for cats. Leah had spent the whole spring and summer seeing Miley and Miloman use the cat door, but she had never used it herself. When I held the door open with a cereal box, Leah went in the catio and seemed to really enjoy spending time outside. But she had never understood that she could access the catio even if the cat door was closed. I therefore decided to teach her how to use it. In this type of situation, it's easy to blame the individual. To say, she's stupid, she's not even able to do that. It's the kind of thing that we do a lot as humans too. We're quick to blame the person because that relieves us of any responsibility in the matter. But in truth, if we want an individual to learn something, it's our job to make sure we create the right learning conditions and make training steps that will be easy enough and will progress with enough fluidity that our learner succeeds easily at each step and so eventually succeeds in doing the final behavior. We also need to make sure that our learner already has some tools, some known behaviors that will be useful for learning that new behavior, some prerequisite components. To learn how to tie your shoe, we will make easy training steps, and we will make sure you know beforehand what the words cross and buckle mean, and that you have the manual dexterity required. The blame of failure is not to be put on the learner. It's on the shoulders of the trainer, the teacher, the parent. It's up to us to set our cat up to succeed easily. If we look at the learning conditions for Leah, well, she's suspicious by nature and fearful, and she and I don't quite yet have a super solid relationship. For example, I can't yet pet her. She's already acquired the prerequisite component of targeting my finger with her nose, so I could theoretically try to train her to push the cat door open in formal training sessions with treats, where I would lift up the door and ask her to target my finger on the other side, like I did with Miley and Miloman. However, failure would be most probable with this technique and Leah, because the situation would be strange. Leah would have to come towards me in a relatively small space, and the door touching her while I'm near her would most likely startle her because she wouldn't be sure if it's me or the door touching her. So this all adds up, and Leah would most likely then choose not to participate in the training and go elsewhere in the house. I therefore decided to train Leah by letting the environment deliver the reinforcer without me even being there. That's the beauty of the thing. We train the cat without being present. Leah already goes outside in the catio and likes it. The natural reinforcer here is therefore a combination of odors, fresh air, and sunlight that's available outside. In other words, Leah's pay, what she's working for, is access to the outdoors. I now have to set up the environment so that Leah is able to pass through the cat door to access the reinforcers herself. I need to create steps that will approximate the final behavior while being small enough that Leah can succeed at them easily. As we say, split, don't lump. If I go from the door is open and you pass through it, directly to the door is closed and you pass through it, clearly the last few months have shown me that it's destined to fail. I've lumped together too many steps and Leah doesn't understand. The steps I therefore decided to split my training into are: block the door open. Block the door open and add a light paper door that allows air to go all around it. Replace the paper door with more rigid cardboard. Add tape folded onto itself to the borders of the cardboard so that the air almost can't pass anymore and so that a bigger push is required to make it open. Double the cardboard so that it's heavier. I also could have taped coins to the bottom of the cardboard here to make it heavier. Close the real door, but tape the cardboards over it on each side so that the appearance of the door hasn't changed. Gradually make the cardboards smaller on the door. Mid-August, I put this plan into action over the course of a week. Here's the result. The step of the light paper allows Leia to learn that pushing her nose to lift something and pass under it gives her access to the outside. Since the paper is light, it's easy to push. Since there's air coming in from all around the paper, Leia can smell the outside odors, and she's therefore encouraged to try to push against the paper because the reinforcers seem really close and easy to access. The step of the cardboard allows Leia to familiarize herself with a more rigid door, which will rest on her back when she passes through the hole. Leia also gets used to pushing a little harder with her nose. The step of the cardboard with tape around it allows Leia to learn that even if odors don't come through the door much, it's still worth it to try to push on it because she'll get access outside. Because we've built a good history of pushing on the cardboard during the preceding days, and because the cardboard looks almost identical and still has cat odors coming from all the rubbing against it while pushing it in the preceding days, Leia is more likely to try pushing it again, even if it's a little harder. The step of the doubled cardboard, and possibly also the coins, allows Leia to get used to a door that's heavier and more rigid. We also here build even more repetitions where pushing on the cardboard has been reinforced by gaining access to the outdoors. The more something is paid a large number of times before, the more likely we are to persist in trying the time where it doesn't work as easily. Think of vending machines or of doubtful computers that won't read your credit card. We try again and again and again. Since the real cat door requires a supplementary pushing effort, we need to build a big history of success of pushing on the cardboard so that Leia will persevere even when it becomes more difficult. And so now the step of the cardboards over the real door allow Leia to see a door that has almost the same appearance as before, the only new step being the increase in pushing power required to make it open. The step where the cardboards are gradually made smaller then allow Leia to learn that even if the cardboard doesn't take up the whole space of the door, it's still possible to open it by pushing on it. With this step, we avoid the possibility that the appearance of the door starts to predict that it won't open. If we'd suddenly gone from a cardboard appearance to an empty door like the last 3 months appearance, we would have risked Leia thinking that since there's no cardboard anymore, she can't open it and then not even try. Teaching a behavior to someone starts with 2 things. First, we need to make sure the individual has the prerequisite skills. I won't ask you to use a bicycle if you can't balance on 2 legs. In our case, I knew that Leia was already able to pass through an orifice because she already passed through the cat door opening when I blocked the door open. If that had not been the case, I would have had to train going through a big orifice first separately and then making it smaller. The second thing is to revise the antecedents to the behavior, and that comes in 3 flavors. First, we need to set up the environment so that success is easy. That's where the gradual steps are important. Split, don't lump. We want the physical environment to be arranged in a way that facilitates the behavior. So we start with a little light paper door. Second, we want to make sure that the reinforcer we will have has a lot of value. If I had tried to teach Leia to use the door during winter or when it's raining, I would not have had as much success because the value of the reinforcer of going outside would have been much lessened by the cold and the humidity. Finally, we want to pay attention to the things that will announce the opportunity for reinforcement if we do the behavior. If the hair passes, it indicates that there's a chance trying to pass will gain us access outside. If there's greasy cat residues from rubbing on the bottom of the door, it signals that pushing on that precise spot is likely to pay. If there's a cardboard and we have a history of pushing on cardboard, there's a good chance that pushing on the cardboard will work. Even if we end up having to push with a little more effort, because without our knowledge, the lady has put the real door back in place behind the cardboard. Training is about paying attention to the antecedents of the behaviors as much as the consequences. Leah now uses the cat door just like Miley and Meloman. She wasn't stupid for not doing it. Her teacher just hadn't yet made the effort of splitting the task in a manner appropriate for her. If these steps don't work with your own cat, use your creativity and find an intermediate step for where they are stumped. It's hard in the beginning, but terribly satisfying the more we make the effort to do it. Happy training!